Nevertheless, we're going to have another 90 minutes of lightning talks, and it's going to be packed. I want you to stay after the lightning talks, though. There is something the organizers want you to be here for, and I'm not allowed to say anything more, except that having more people is better. Mysterious. Anyway, let's get started with the lightning talks. The first one is Stefan Nordhausen, and he's going to talk about Neta.
Yeah. Hi everybody, my name is Stefan Nordhausen and I will give you a quick introduction to Neta, which is a library that helps you to handle IP addresses, MAC addresses and more. I'm one of the main contributors and you can find the code on GitHub and also on PyPI. But first of all, I would like to show you a new built-in that was added in Python 3.3. You can now do from IP address, import IP address and IP network. And then you can do stuff with IP addresses and IP networks because there's now objects for that. So you can check if an IP address is in a certain network. And there's more goodies. You can do iterating, slicing, you can get the broadcast addresses, netmasks, you can even do IP arithmetic. Neta provides the same for you. We also have an IP address object, an IP network object, and you can do pretty much the same thing as with the IP address built-in of Python 3.3. So, why would you install Neta? Well, first of all, it supports Python 2.4 and Python 3.0 because not everybody has Python 3.3 yet. And there's no further dependencies, no CMagic, nothing. Second of all, there's more than just IP addresses and IP networks. For example, there's IP ranges. Neta provides you with an IP range network object, and you can just say, I have a range that starts here, ends there, and then you can do operations like, is the IP address in the cluster? You can iterate over the hosts in your range, stuff like that. There's also an object for handling MAC addresses called the EUI, because that's the official name of MAC addresses, Extended Unique Identifier. And the funny thing about these is that there are so many different formats. Uppercase, lowercase, different kinds of separators. Some people leave out the leading zeros, but as you see in the example below, it's all the same for the EUI object. They all get parsed the same. That's the input. How about the output? Maybe you want your MAC address to look in a certain way. That's why Neta provides so-called dialects for you. One is the MAC Cisco dialect, and you can just instantiate your MAC address, set the dialect to Cisco, and then stringify it, and it will look like a MAC address that the Cisco systems are using. More such dialects are available. Customization is, of course, possible. There's OUI, Organizationally Unique Identifiers, which are basically the first 3 bytes of a MAC address. And you can ask a MAC address for its OUI, and the interesting part about the OUI is the registration information. So in the example you see on the screen, the registration says it's the Intel company from Malaysia. Always good to know stuff like this. And by the way, this works without internet access, the database is built in. Then there's sets of IP addresses. Wait a minute, set is a Python built-in, why would you bother? Well, there's stuff like 10.00/8 and FE80/64, which are just really big networks, and you don't want to add 2 to the 64 objects to a Python set. That's not really fun. Here, IP set comes to the rescue. You import the IP set, you instantiate it, and then you can add IP networks, you can add IP ranges, you can add individual IP addresses, and you can mix IPv6 and IPv4 as you please, and then do the usual set operations. Check for membership, for example, or in the second part, remove an address from the IP set. And even though that splits the IP range that was inserted in 2 pieces, let IP set take care of it. You don't have to. One disclaimer though, your distribution may ship Neta already, but please use version 0.7.11 or higher, otherwise you will have a bad time. So to reiterate, the code is on GitHub, but also on PyPI. PyPI also has a link to the documentation and to a very nice tutorial. And that's it. Thanks for your attention.
The next speaker is Alexa Polsky about anti-fragile, and after that, Josie, you're next then. All right.
Okay. 1 second. Excuse me, could you please turn it? How do you connect? 1 second.
Still two.
I showed them. It's coming.
Does it show?
No. It's, wait a moment. They, yeah.
All right, got it.
Because you switched.
I see. Okay, so I wonder how many of you have read any books or articles by Nessim Taleb, like the Black Swan or Anti-Fragile. Okay, I see some hands in the audience. And I'm going to give a talk, a kind of more philosophical approach to Python. Well, Nessim Taleb is a kind of intellectual thinker who speaks about probability theory, about risk management, and how we can gain from instability from in unstable world. So the first book of him was Black Swan. It's about rare events that occur in our life and can change it completely, and that these events are not predictable, but we somehow should prepare for such events. And the second book of him is Anti-Fragile, is specifically about algorithm, how to deal with things that we cannot predict. There must be some way how to survive in unpredictable future, and in programming we can speak about some problems that can occur to our code, to our system, and to our product in general. So three terms that he uses are fragile, anti-fragile, and robust. So fragile is a system that can break, and if it does not break now, it will break later and will cause a lot of problems. So there must be a way to prepare, and we can think about what properties of such systems could be at the level of code, at the level of, say, Python module, at the level of an application at all. So, for instance, ORM porting is fragile because if you, for example, change ORM, you have to redo all the application. If you deliver product in a non-agile way, it's a problem too. Suddenly customer asks you to do something and you cannot deliver the product instantly. So, and if you write some code and do not keep in mind that there is some context of product stability, like you need logging, you need error tracing, it's not fragile. So, so please use some logging, etc. So what is robust? Robust is logging, robust is transactions, robust is when your application falls back gracefully, for example, nice error displays, or if a part of your applications go away, still some front page will be working and your customer will be notified. And anti-fragile application is something that's not totally robust, but is kind of good enough. So what I'm speaking about is, in Alex Martelli's terms, good enough, but I have ported into Nessim Taleb's concept of fragile, anti-fragile, and robust. So one of the main strategies that he uses is the strategy of what's this heavyweight instrument is called? I forgot. Barbell, yes, the barbell strategy. Basically, this means that you have to do very robust things and not to do some new things at all if they can break this system. But if something new and something cool does not break this system, you should exercise it and add it to your system. For instance, do not run for new things. Do something that looks very simple, very stable, and very understandable. But if new changes and cool changes do not cost too much, well, feel free to do them, especially if they do not affect big parts of the system. So exercise new stuff in limited contexts and do very stable and simple things in general. So this metaphor especially good for new programmers. If they come to a company, I used it to explain to middle and junior programmers how they can fit various ways of thinking about the system they build together in terms of fragile, anti-fragile, and robust on different levels.
All right, after Josie talked about pixie dust to us, there will be Agosha Vohokovic. All right, I see you.
Should be HTML. Yes, it is. I managed.
Do you want to use that microphone?
I can try. Okay.
Just wait a moment. It should come up.
Okay. You ready?
It will. It will.
All right, we'll take a second.
It will turn it. Because if you look at that screen, you can see that everything is fine, and they just need to switch it.
Okay.
Come on, guys, wake up.
They're not noticing it.
We are ready.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, cool.
You go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Josephine, and I'm 13 years old. I come from Zagreb, Croatia. I got a scholarship from the Django girls, so this is how I'm here. This is my group from the Django girls project on the first day. And what is pixie dust? It is my idea to help girls from 13 to 18 start from being consumers to becoming producers of technology. So I think the big problem with technology for girls and teenagers my age is that we love it so much that we overuse it and we do not try to produce. So the consuming and producing would be 90-10% and not 50-50, which should be. I sometimes have this problem. I can be on multiple screens at one time and get lost in it for hours. And then at the end of the day, I feel so guilty that I didn't spend my weekend or day very well. My mom knows to call me a technology zombie because I can't get my eyes off of the screen. I'm just like, oh, where am I? What am I doing here? So my solution would be bringing these girls from smaller countries, because I'd like to start small, then to big places, because a lot of these companies have great ideas, but start very big. They want to add big details, big, get press and everything. And then they lose the money and go bankrupt, which I don't think anyone wants. So it's better to start small and grow, level up. So the resources that I need would be teachers/experts, sponsors, and of course hosts. Yes, so this is my story, and anyone can be a part of it. Thank you.
Awesome. Dima Tishne, are you there?
You need a
Excellent.
two.
Okay.
For everybody who just joined, the organizers would like to stay you after the lightning talks. They want to do something, and they need you to be here. The more, the better.
Picking it up.
Yeah. Okay, hi everybody. I'm here to invite you to WebCamp. It's a conference in Zagreb, Croatia. It's organized by local user communities, and it's pretty awesome. So, at this point, everybody asks me, where is Zagreb? So, it's in Europe. It's not far away, and it's generally good enough connections to get there. So what's going on there? So in October, we'll have, for the third year in a row, WebCamp conference. There is no specific topic, but all local user groups like Python, JavaScript, PHP, Ruby, is involved, and I would like to suggest to you to submit your talk, because it ends next week, and it's a great environment. Last year we had around 600 people. This year we are expecting around 800 people. So there are two parts of WebCamp conference. The first part is a week of WebCamp, where local user groups have their meetups, smaller conferences and talks. And it's generally really relaxed, and I think everybody would enjoy it there. And the main event is the WebCamp conference, which is like something that everybody wants. You can expect talks about Elixir, Erlang, Go, Clojure, Python, JavaScript. It's really, everybody can find something interesting. So once again, call for papers ends next week. So if you want to come, submit it. There are two places where we have this thing. First, smaller, for around 150 people, is in the first picture. And the main event is like in a Congress Center similar to this one. And you can expect an audience about 800 people this year. So, just to confirm that it's a cool event, you can expect any kind of stuff to happen. And please consider coming. It's one of those small communities that are building a non-profit conference, and it's really cool. So, see you in October. That's it.
The next one after that will be Thorsten Rehn. Are you around? Oh, there. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dima Tisnik, and I hate testing. I know it's not a popular thing to say, but I'm here courtesy of Ignite. We're a pretty cool late-stage startup. We are hiring both in Mountain View and Poznan, if you're interested. And I live in Poznan now, which is really close to Berlin. We've got awesome developer Python club stuff. Please check us out. So now to the actual thing. So I had testing, but I'll leave that for later, because I've got a lot to cover. First of all, let's see some code. So it's a real code. All names were changed to protect the innocent. And as you can see, it has 100% code coverage. And first I have to say that coverage.py is awesome. It's at least 5 years old, and it survived a lot. It is still being maintained. Now, let's see what was the unit test that actually created this 100% code coverage. It looks like this. In other words, only the function signature is tested at all. So what can we do about this? There is a formal thing called mutation testing. Unfortunately, it's not that great in Python, but it exists. There are two packages, PyMuTester and MutePy. I hope I pronounced them right. PyMuTester is dead. It's for Python 2 only, and it doesn't work for me at all. MuteTester, on the other hand, is workable. It does work. It's only for Python 3. It produces results in very unintelligible format, and it requires unit test case, which nobody should use anymore. So let's see how it works. First, let's have some simple test. Let's say this is code. We are testing it somewhere. We've got a decorator. We've got a context manager. We've got some logical operations. We've got a branch. And then let's run it. We give a magic command, get a lot of output. What does it say? It says that it tried 15 combinations of how to change my code and tested if my unit tests still pass. 14 of them were killed by this unit test erasure, so these changes were invalid. One of them survived, which means that there is an alternative bit of code that still passes my test, and that is a problem. Let's see how it looks like. So apparently, removing this decorator doesn't change anything, which I sort of expected. On the other hand, this lock is not tested anywhere either, but it didn't find it. So this tool is not perfect, but it exists. Moving on. In an ideal world, let's build a system that connects to your GitHub, takes your code, and if all your unit tests pass, or in fact all of your tests pass, it changes the code. It could do it in any way. It could be exhaustive search, it could be artificial intelligence, mechanical Turk, whatever. But if your code is simpler and the tests pass, let's just issue a pull request right away, and let the developer figure out whether the simplified code is actually better, or maybe they need better tests. So, I hate testing. Now for some fun. I'm a zombie. You've seen this image at a keynote talk. I'm not a corporate drone. I'm a different kind of zombie. I'm a zombie for a reason. I like brains. In fact, I believe that programmers have brains, and people that I work with have brains, and they're actually smart enough. And we should not be constrained to some ridiculous systems. We chose a dynamic language for a reason. So while on the subject of keynotes, Bob Polito's push for typo annotation is completely misguided. Nobody said anything, but whatever. OK, if you want to get in touch with me, just remember my nick. It's DimoQQ. Gmail, GitHub, whatever. It searches, it Googles. That's it. Thank you.
After Torsten, there will be Harut. Harut, are you around? Okay.
Hi, everyone. So by now, people get annoyed when you use taglines that end in "for humans," so there I fixed it. But I really want to talk about config management. There are a lot of config management tools out there. The most popular ones are probably Chef, Puppet, and Ansible, and they're really great. They're really the workhorses of DevOps and have made config management in general somewhat popular. But I wanted a pony. A pony that is a tool rather than a solution, if that makes any sense. For example, I didn't want to maintain a server component. Also, having to install an agent on each node before you can start to bring that under management is kind of a pain, especially when dealing with legacy systems. And the same goes for SSH. I really want to use that as a transport and authentication mechanism because it's already there. Beyond that, I was also wishing for an interactive mode and a nicer command line UI that allows me to carefully review and pick each change that I make to an existing important critical system. And I really wish that Python was the only language I needed to know in order to use it. Last but not least, there's item-level parallelism. This is a big one, actually. What that means is I wanted to continue working on small things like config files while it's installing, for example, a system package on the same node. I don't think any system currently does this. They all just work out a linear order and then go step by step. So about 2 years ago, I started hacking on this just for fun. And roughly 12 or 13 months ago, I threw it all away and started from scratch. So for the past year, a friend and I have been working on this, and we're really trying to design a config management system that is extremely minimal and probably dangerously dynamic. Here goes. What we see here is just a file that has a dictionary in it that tells us there is a node called TARDIS, and it has the MOTD bundle. Easy. Within that bundle, we have a file called /motd with some inline content. You can also use templates, of course. Now, this is all just Python, which makes it very easy, perhaps too easy, to import and inject any data you like. It also makes for an interesting learning curve because you start out as a command line tool with a sort of JSON-ish configuration, but it quite fluidly transitions to feel more like a framework once you start to build these dictionaries dynamically. This is interactive mode. You get a nice color diff for this change in a file and can carefully review what you're doing. There's so much more features and bells and whistles to this that I can't show you right now. But just a few days ago, I tagged 1.0 of our tool called Bundle Wrap after about 16, I think, alpha and beta releases. You can find out all about it on bundlewrap.org. There's more information, a quick start tutorial, and just generally everything you want to know. If any of this is even vaguely interesting to any of you, please come talk to me. If you just want to yell at me for reinventing some parts of Ansible, that's cool too. I'm here until Friday. You can find me as Tyrann on GitHub and Twitter. Thank you very much.
Simon Piotrowski, are you around? Is it? Excellent.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes. So I want to talk about a trick that helps us to keep code more clean. So sometimes we want to have to write such strange classes that if you see they are quite similar and the code is almost identical. So what we can do with that? Actually, this is SQL Alchemy classes, and SQL Alchemy allows us to write this code by inheritance using declared utter decorator, but I don't like this because it is too verbose. So let's revert and okay, so let's revert and let's see what we can do with that. So As we know, Python classes when Python class is created, its body is executed, and the result of that execution is passed to type. And the main difference between the function and class bodies is that function body can be executed many times. So we can just move body from class to function and call type in decorator. So, oh, I missed stuff. So here it is. This decorator do some trivial stuff. It just calls a constructor and passes its value to type and returns a class. But there are some things that I don't like, for example, return locals, and I want just to remove it. Can I do this? Yes, I can. So, reload. Here is, and it's working. I just create two classes by decorator. These functions looks like class. They behave like class. Probably they are class. So how I done this? I never met this before. It is a decorator that actually executes a function and extracts local variables at the end of execution. So I don't want to tell about how it works. So, and we use it in real life, like that. Here we have models, and we create similar models for different languages with little distinction. So here it is. Okay.
No, I don't. Sorry.
We just have to wait a bit. No, it's not.
Okay. It's somewhere else. Okay.
After Simon, Richard, it's your turn.
Okay, so I would just like to tell you about some design flow that is with getAttr, with the getAttr with the default argument and also hasAttr, and why you shouldn't rely on these functions too much. We created a nice base class, which is called character, and we created a function that is called getQuote. It nicely formats some quote of this character. We also subclassed it, and we can see that it works here very well. We also think about ourselves. We are so smart because we can handle the situations where there is no quote. We know that Sir Ilan Payne isn't very talkative for some reasons, and here we handle this. Sir Ilan Payne won't say anything. So it's okay, then we can add another characters. It also works very well, and we are very happy. But then we want to do something more. We just think that there are too many good quotes by Tyrion Lannister that we don't want to choose one of them. So we use the random module, and we use random choice to select one of these quotes. We are doing this, and what happened? Okay, who saw this coming? Who saw that this would behave like this exactly? Not a lot of you. Okay, who can tell me now what really happened here? Yes, there is a typo, but can we see from the behavior of this program that there was a typo? We can't. This typo here would raise attribute error. This attribute error would be silenced. It would be called by this getAttr, and we got our error silenced. This is something completely against Zen of Python, and this is something that makes it very hard to debug. This example here is super simple, but you could have this error raised some 10 frames deeper, and you could spend 2 hours on debugging sometimes. It happened to me. So this is not a good way to do it. Now let's see if we change this just a little bit. Here we don't rely on getAttr. We just set quote in our base class to none. And we check if it's still none or if it was changed in the inherited class. And now we can see, oh snap, I made a typo. There is choice, not choice. And if this is a thing that we can fix in 2 seconds, and it works now. So if you don't have really good reasons, just don't rely on getAttr and hasAttr, because it can produce these kinds of very hard to debug problems. Thank you.
Antonio Ognio, are you around? All right. Richard, was it okay that I did not write your talk for you?
Where's the... Oh, there it is. Okay. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Man, that's small, is it? Wow. Now I have to... Oh, wrong way.
I think that screen is on your left side.
No,
you're
down.
Right on the left edge.
Oh, got it. Far out. All right. So much for changing the plan at the last minute. Okay. That was a great idea. All right. Everyone can see that? Is that big enough? Yeah? All right. Good. So... Oh, that's the wrong one. So what I was going to start with was this... Oh, you want to... Cheers. So I was going to start with this golden rules of lightning talks thing, which was going to be really ironic, because the first rule we all know, don't go over 5 minutes. The second rule, don't do live demos. But then everyone's been doing live demos. So, well, I'm going to do my live demo now. Oh, I forgot something. Don't forget your piece of paper, that's rule 3. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of, just a few little things, however much I can fit in the 5 minutes. The first one is a module called E. Who's heard of the module called E? Yeah, there's a couple of you, okay. You don't count, you wrote part of it. Okay, so pip install E, all right, off we go. So E is a rather funny little module. It's designed for the -m command, so python-me. It's got some basic functionality. It can do evaluation of whatever you pass. What the? Oh. This is why you don't do live demos, eh? All right, let's try that again. Pip install E. All right, there we go. So it evaluates expressions you pass on the command line. It can do all sorts of stuff like import this and things like that. So that's really neat. One of the other things it can do, which is kind of nice, is say we've got, say we're doing some Flask development, and often when you're doing something like Flask development or whatever, you get a bit lost in the documentation. You have to kind of poke inside Flask to figure out how things are working. So one of the things that the E module will do is tell you where Flask is. So -me and a module name, and it gives you the location of that module. And so we ask for flask.config, for example, it'll tell us where that is. You can also then say less, and it'll fire up less with the module, so you can then have a look at it. Or if you say vim, you know, it's in an editor, which is kind of nice. Which is very handy if you then need to like insert some debugging into Flask to find out what the hell is going on to your program. So that's really neat. Now, who noticed some funniness when I was doing the pip installs there? Did anybody see how, I don't know, blazingly fast that went for a computer that's not even online? So the magic there is a thing called DevPy. Who went to Holger's talk today? Yeah, a few of you? For the rest of you, you should have gone to Holger's talk. DevPy is really cool. So you pip install DevPy, and it's spelled pip install DevPy. All right, it's already there, so it's going to say whatever. Okay, that installs. Oh, I've got plenty of time. Okay, so then you run DevPy server. Actually, I think it's already running. So yeah, it's already running because I'm using it, so I'm going to stop it. Okay, when you start it up, it says cool, running, and there's a URL. You then run a command which is, oh, sorry, flip the thing, devpy use set config. This is all in the very basic startup help. You don't need to remember this. And that URL, let's grab that, /root/py. Okay, and that sets all of the configuration things that need to be set so that your pip commands and everything else will now start using your local devpy server. And what that means is it's a proxying cache, which basically means every pip command you do, anything you install, will be cached by devpy locally. So subsequent install commands use the local version. Really, really, really fast. And it's trivial to use, like I just showed. I've got 48 seconds. I'm going to show one more thing. All right. All right, so one of the other things that I do is I volunteer running the Python events calendar and Python user group calendar. And what I thought would be interesting yesterday was I grabbed all the calendar entries because I realized we were getting kind of busy lately. I grabbed all the calendar entries and I grabbed the locations and I plotted them on a map. That's all the PyCons that are in the calendar. I chucked the user groups on there as well, just for laugh. There's a few of us now, and that's my time.
Danilo Bargen, are you around?
Okay.
Yeah? Why is it taking such a long time? What's up with that?
Did you switch it to
Yeah, well, I showed them.
And we want HDMI?
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should. That's what I asked. Okay. Yeah, sorry. No, it's you have to drag it to because you have it's not
There we go. Okay. Hello, my name is Antonio. I've come all the way from Peru, South America to this conference. I'm very happy to be here. And I want to talk about RESTful microservices with Python. So we need to ask first, what is REST anyway? Not everybody knows that answer very well. What is a microservices architecture? And why is it a good idea to write or build this kind of thing with Python? So what is REST? REST stands for representational state traffic, but doesn't tell us very much. In practice, what REST is a way of taking full advantage of the existing web-related protocols and technologies. I mean something like web proxies, application firewall, client libraries, and stuff like that, in order to manipulate objects remotely. That's what it is in practice. Take in consideration that REST was not invented. It was reverse engineered after the existing web technologies in 2000 by Roy Fielding, one of the original authors of the HTTP 101 specification. It requires from you to include links so your API is browsable, and most importantly, it requires you to respect the actual semantic of each verb. Like, for example, you can never use get in order to make a change in the server side. If you are thinking that REST is only mapping the CRUD actions to an HTTP verb, you're wrong. It's more than that. Please educate yourself a little bit. There's a lot of information on Google about this. So, for example, there are more than 15 status codes that you should regularly be returning, not just 200 or 404. In order to know if you're doing this right, for each resource, which is for each unique entity in your problem domain, you should be having only one URL. No? For example, you should be including a home document with links to all the other available resources, and many rules like that, including hyperlinks. For example, if you make a search and you don't find the item you are searching for, you should not return 404. You should return 200 with a resource explaining that there are no available results. So for learning more about these status codes, this is a website that really helps a lot, http://status.s. Please grab your copy of Roy Fielding's dissertation. It's a PDF. A PDF is very, very easy to read, actually, and I really like it because it compares this architectural style to others and takes many chapters to justify why REST is a good idea. I also have a talk about this in English, REST for the Rest of Us. Just please Google it if you're interested. And these two books that other speakers have been mentioning during this conference are really good. So microservices. Basically, microservices is building a larger system or larger service, piecing together smaller services. Very much like doing a mashup using APIs from Twitter, Facebook, and the like. The most important thing about this is that they have to be highly reusable, self-contained, conceptually simple, and easy to maintain. Instead of making a big monolithic system and having different people with different skills to agree on a system, you basically build cross-functional teams, like for each department. Each department builds its own web service, and you just use them together. No? And each one can have its own agile development cycle independently. No? So even when you deploy that, instead of having one huge process with all this functionality, you can have each functionality in a different process, which is far better for reliability issues. So what are the advantages of microservices? The most important thing is that once that you have defined an API, you can build the internals. You can rebuild the actual implementation without breaking anything. No? Other than that, only one developer can maintain the code because it's really simple. Martin Fowler, the very famous Martin Fowler, has been written about this. There's also a conference coming this November in London, which is very interesting about this. And why Python? Well, the most important thing about Python is productivity. You really have to prototype these web services.
Camille, are you around? Excellent, you're next. And again, a reminder, at 5:30, there's a small surprise happening here. One note would be to keep some battery life in your computers. That would be nice.
Okay.
All right.
My name is Danilo, I'm from Switzerland, and I'm actually not here to show you something, but to ask something from you. So we recently founded a new hackerspace in my town, and one of our goals was to improve education and to get children into technology. And one way to do that is in Switzerland, many primary and secondary schools offer something like a vacation program for children. So they get a vacation pass where they have many activities to choose from during the vacations. And we want to offer one of these programs and want to offer a programming workshop. So we thought about how to do this. So, just a second. Probably most of you know Minecraft, and probably even more children know Minecraft than you. So there's actually something called Minecraft Pi Edition, and it's free. And if you have a Raspberry Pi, you can just download the binary and run it. And one of the good things is it's actually scriptable, so you can program the tiles. You can create a new block at a specific position. And the good thing is, if you give one of the kids a Raspberry Pi and install that on there, he can actually go home, take the Raspberry Pi with him, and continue programming it. So my question is, if you have any experience with this kind of workshop, if you have good ideas, if you want to know more, then please contact me. And basically, that's it. Thank you.
Fernando Masanori, are you around? You'll be up, the one after that. You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, I would like to tell you about a tool for developers which I created. This tool records requests of web services. Basic idea of this tool is that all the time we call web services, we have two XMLs like request and reply, and to record them, to use them or record them, we can use XLSLT transformation. The web service, if we work with web service, there can be many times inaccessible, especially if you work with developer web services. So this can be really helpful if you use it in dev mode. how it works. When you use web services, one, it's already working. It's recorded to the saved samples based on the config files. And when there is problem with web service, you can use serving mode to use web service without noticing that it's not there. Right now, I will show you a short demo. And here is 3 calls to the web services. This web service is really simple. It's just changing request to the reply. And I will call here. It creates this file, which is recorded sample. Here is this response for this service. In the configuration for this message, we need to configure based on which parameters we want to create reply, which parameters will be used in creating reply based on request, and all of them are used in this are sequent conditions. If you call more request, this file enlarges, and there are other parts about it. If to prove that it's already serving from this, hope. If we call web service again, it serves with changed file. So as well, if web service has some errors, you can fix it in this sampled files. Okay, come back. There are they created few configuration modes. Mostly it's mix of recording and serving, and there's also transparent mode when it looks like there is no recording at all. So what I'm already working on is implementing XPath2 functions which are not present in XML, but they can be very helpful if you create configuration file with these nodes. All right, but it's just a library only for the functions, not for them. And also to not use whole blocks of XMLs, you can use nested nodes, so it could be more complicated configuration file. In the future, it would be nice to create some support for REST and JSON, but unfortunately, JSON and REST don't have such mature standards for XPath. For XPath or XSLT, yeah, that's it. Oh. My last slide.
All right, Peter Koppatz, are you here?
No. We don't have HDMI.
Somebody's missing. Peter? So if Peter isn't here, then the next one would be Philip Kletschik. That's you? Excellent.
Hi, I'm from Brazil. For the first time, PyCon Brazil, it will be on the beach. Porto de Galinhas was the... Porto de Galinhas was voted by magazine best beach in Brazil for 10 times consecutives. This is the venue of conference. The other photo. This is the Python community. Some speakers. And are invited to submit call for papers are open. bit.ul/pybeach. Thank you.
Jim Baker. Okay, I see you. I noticed that I'm getting a little tired sitting, and just as a recommendation for you, just everybody, stand up once. Please stand up once, stretch a little bit. We've been sitting for an hour consecutively. I don't want the other speakers to think we've all fallen asleep. All right, some yawning. Okay, thank you.
So we can start. Okay, hi. I'm Filip Kłębczyk. I come from Poland, and I wanted to talk about PyCon.pl, so another PyCon. A little bit of history, but very fast, because we don't have much time. So mostly photos. It started in my home city. We already had on the first edition over 100 attendees. Then we moved it into remote locations like mountains, where weather in October is different, depending on the year. We had a lot of attendees, well-known people like from projects like PyPy. There's a very good atmosphere on the conference. We have 3 days of talks, currently even 4. We have different well-known speakers on the conference. We also have anniversaries. We do barbecues in things like that. Yeah, iBrothers. And now we scaled up to a few hundred attendees. We also have all the meals together because they are included in the price of conference. So let's talk about the current edition. So it has 3 to 4 days, depending which option will you choose. It has 3 tracks, 1 full English track. We are ready for up to 500 attendees. We have parties and discussions all the time because all the attendees are in one place, in one hotel, which is awesome. And the prices are very low, I would say. And that includes accommodation and meals. So where the hell is Szczyrk? We always choose places that have difficult names because we love tongue twisters when people from US say shh. It's Szczyrk. So it's in the center of Europe. Look on this map. Near the border of Czech Republic and Slovakia. It's actually Beskidy Mountains. It's southern Poland. How to reach? So nearest airports are Katowice, Krakow, and Ostrava in Czech Republic. Ostrava is the closest one, but has only flights to London and Paris. There are also Eurocity, Euronight trains. You can also take a bus if you prefer buses with Wi-Fi on board. We will have over 50 talks and workshops, and at least half of them will be in English. Here you will have some of the speakers, but the screen is too small to have them all on one slide. We don't have call for proposals because we've ended it 2 weeks ago, but we have call for workshops proposals. So you can still send us a workshop proposal, and if you will be accepted, you will get a free ticket. There will be also communities from other countries on PyCon.pl, some from Czech Republic, Slovakia, Ukraine, and Belarus. I want to add that PyCon Belarus is the first PyCon in Belarus. So I recommend to support ladies that are organizing the PyCon Belarus. We have an offer. If you are organizer of PyCon, you can get 1 free ticket. It doesn't matter if it's PyCon Brazil, Finland, or whatever, or PyCon Germany. You can get a free ticket with accommodations and meals. So please contact us at pyconpl@python.org and follow us on the web, so on Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube, so on the social services. That's all. I've made it.
I'm being totally naughty. If you are an organizer of a PyCon, please send the details of your conference to the Python events calendar so that it can be in the calendar and everyone can know about it.
believe it's this way.
Agata, are you around? Oh, well hidden. All right.
Hi, so I'm Jim Baker, and I'm going to be talking about the state of Jython. And I have 22 slides in less than 5 minutes. So, because we've been doing so much work. It's under extremely active development right now as we're trying to close to get to final release by Q4. So I found in this development, along with all the other core devs and committers, that the language changes were pretty easy. It's the runtime and libraries that we've definitely spent our work on, and ecosystem is our current focus, such as some stuff I'll be talking about around pip. You need to use Java 7. We now have some interesting new functionality, so you can, for instance, mix Python and Java types in the base of a class when using the meta class. Why would you want that? When you're doing some very specialized things, like one example I will present in a moment. Support for buffer and memory view, which will allow for interesting efficiencies, so on and so forth. There's this new work called Socket Reboot, which re-implements the standard Python socket module, as well as adding support for SSL and real support for select using Neta 4, which is a really good event loop package for Java, and I would hope we would eventually use it for async IO support as well. So here's a good example of what we're using to actually provide socket support today. You can see it's actually just Python code binding to this Neta package. It actually is able in a very small function, which is slightly cut off here, to handle all differences between non-blocking and blocking with any timeouts for a given socket. This enables requests. So you can now use, with the latest version of Jython, certainly what's in trunk, this popular client. And since it's used by pip, this is really good. Pip used to work, but because of this change to using request and also the support for SSL that is now required when working with PYPI, this was important for us to do. We almost have this complete, and it should be in the next release of pip. Regular expressions used to have some problems and were slow. I heard someone talking about a potential cherry pie performance. I don't know about your specific case, but this might actually fix it for you. It was really cool to see this great commit by someone who contributed this, Indra Talib. We are now also developing stuff outside the usual release schedule in Jython. So, for instance, I'll talk a little bit about Clamp and Jiffy. There's also this new Fireside WSGI bridge to work with serverless containers. We've, of course, had that in the past, but this knows about site packages and is pip compatible and is really nice in that fashion. Clamp allows you to directly import Python classes into Java. What does that look like? Well, let's say I had this Python class that extends some Java interfaces. Really simple. It's really implementing the callable interface. You add 2 lines here in terms of being able to say from Clamp import this Clamp base metaclass factory. Use that metaclass factory function to generate your bar base, and then you add it, this bar base to your list of bases for that class. And now, with just one more step in terms of in your setup tools using Clamp, you can go, and this is now Java code. Sorry to show this to all of you here. Here you are directly importing a Python class into your Java code without any additional work. Just one line. How's that? Thanks. It's pretty awesome. And Darius and I, he did a great job working out this with, yeah, it was fun. So Jiffy, we're planning to provide CFFI support. There's this interesting patois. Genie is a project that allows C extension API support. There's going to be a sprint on this in Aachen on Monday. We're also having a sprint on Saturday about Clamp. Again, we're planning to get a beta 4 out. Release candidates as needed. Mostly this is about going and there's obviously for what we want to do, Java integration is key. Java 9 is going to add some additional support. And what about Python 3.8.x? I'll let you guys read this as my time runs out.
Anton Blomberg, are you here? Excellent, you're next. Peter Koppatz, did you arrive here by accident or on purpose in between? Doesn't look like it.
Can you do something to this? I don't deal
Can I do something to that? Wait a second, it's plugged in, right?
Yeah, well, I think it is right.
Can you give me the system settings?
It should be. I mean, it doesn't have an HDMI. It just has this, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, okay. No. Sind wir auf dem digitalen? Das ist HDMI.
Do you have another adapter of VGA?
Ich habe da, glaube ich, einen. It was just a matter of time.
In stress?
Yep, that's good.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Analog. And that's code of conduct.
Okay, hello guys, I'm Agata, and I just want to have a short talk about how to make Python more sexy. The idea is pretty simple. We just have to improve Python to be more sexy. So let's start from the beginning. We can just simply improve packaging. Just, guys, use Python gems. And of course, improve parallelism, like replace the GIL with V8 and use more callbacks. What about the style of Python? Adopt an explicit Java-like naming convention because readability counts. And of course, guys, it's really simple. Just use more globals. No imports, use file includes, and just built-in carrying. And after all this stuff, I just want to say you one more thing. I was just kidding. Python is as sexy as it can be, and it cannot be more sexy, guys. And I want to thank you so much for inviting us for EuroPython conference. And we just love you. And I hope to see you next year. And of course, I hope to see you in a Szczyrk because PyCon Poland is waiting for you. Thank you very much.
Thomas, you're after that. And again, there will be something at 5:30 where you need your computers, so save battery or plug in. I hope you've got a mobile phone and a tablet with you. We'll put these to some good use later. You ready?
Yep.
All right.
Hey guys, my name is Anton Blomberg and I'm a Swedish distributed systems geek. And I want to talk about parallel execution. Well, everybody knows there's a gel in Python, and therefore, us Pythonists, we're not very used to dealing with this concept. And, well, if you actually could do parallel execution, why would you? Well, of course, increase the speed of your program and reduce the latency. And maybe, why would you not? Single-thread programs, they're easy. Multiple threads, it's really hard. And why is this? It's because you introduce concurrency into your programs. It leads to race conditions, deadlocks, and all sorts of nasty problems that are really hard to debug. So what you do, you add locking, synchronizing, and then your code base is so hard to understand. But there is an alternative to program systems that running concurrently. It's the actor model, which is a very old way that's been around for ages, where you do parallel concurrency without locks. So this is not your regular threaded model where you acquire a lock and do your stuff, release the lock. Everything is done in independent share-nothing tasks. This is a bit similar to all the G-event tasklet libraries, Node.js, blah, blah, but this is more a way to organize your code to make it easier, not to lead you into callback hell. So what you do is you communicate by passing messages between these actors. And every actor is in itself like a process. It has a shared nothing with all the other actors. The only way to communicate is to send a message. And all messages are sent asynchronously and put on queues for incoming messages for all the other actors. Since each actor can only execute one piece of code at once, you cannot go into race conditions because everything is in itself atomic. An actor can only receive one message at once and process it. So what you get with this is execution transparency, network transparency. As a coder, you don't need to know where your code is executing, in how many parallel threads it executes, or if it actually executes on another system, on another machine. So what you actually simply get is distributed systems for free. So if you like Python, then maybe this is bad news for you. But the PyPy SDM, it actually has potential to bring this into Python. What it adds is parallel execution if there are no conflicts. And in an Axer system, there is a shared nothing architecture, which means no conflicts. This means you can run Python code fully parallel on all cores. So what I did yesterday, after having a couple of beers, was actually try to implement this in an Python-only implementation to make use of an actor system in a fully distributed parallel environment on PyPy SDM. And, well, it kind of worked. So, it's not a library, it's a proof of concept. What they basically did was implement actors, a multi-threaded, fully parallel event loop. A lot of buzzwords, but it's not your G-event event loop that you execute in synchronicity, but sharing time between tasks. You actually execute fully in parallel. Since actors share nothing, you can process the queues of received messages in parallel and do all the actors on all cores. So what I did was basically give the application developer a generator statement and receive a new message with a yield, and built into the language, you can now receive a message in a asynchronous manner and execute fully in parallel. So it works in CPython. It's totally regular Python code, and it shines on PyPy SDM. Well, kind of. The overhead is still a bit high on SDM, but it actually improves the more cores you add. So as a fun exercise, I also implemented pure Python efficient immutable data structures, like an immutable dictionary, which gives copy and write semantics but doesn't actually copy anything. So you can find this at, if you go to deadlock.se, where there's a link to the GitHub, so you don't need to remember it. And if you like distributed systems and see the potential for Python to actually run stuff in parallel in the future, donate huge amounts of cash to the PyPySDM guys and give these guys a round of applause.
HDMI.
Christoph Neumann, are you around? All right. Can you make it in 4 minutes? All right, that's excellent.
Okay. Yeah, hello. I have 2 announcements to make. It's both related to having private email. And to begin with, we'll make a GPG PGP key signing. It's right after the lightning talks and the surprise thing. So we meet at 17:45 in the basement, in the lounge area where those sofas and that stuff is. And just look for me and for Arnold Grille. We'll kind of lead this. And if you need another motivation after the first keynote, and if you still think you have nothing to hide, this is the slide for you. So what can we do? If you don't use any GPG yet, maybe in reality you don't have private email yet because they are reading your email. It's not because they are especially interested in you, but just because they are reading all email that's not encrypted. It's easier than you think. If you want to start right here at EuroPython, we will have another event, and it will be in the WebCamp, and we will have a small crypto party. You just come there with your laptop, have Thunderbird installed, and we'll help you to get GPG going and to create your keys and so on. Just meet us there. We'll try to make a session about this. You can also use another email client, just make sure there is some sort of GPG support for it. So for the key signing, for the event today at 17:45, what do you need? You need a PGP key, of course. It's a key signing. You need your name, email, and key ID and fingerprint, for example, on such paper strips or on your business card. Alternatively, you can also have this data just on your laptop screen if you don't have any paper with you. And you need a valid passport or ID card. So the procedure will be about like this. We will just row up in a kind of circle, but it will be a flattened circle. So everybody is facing somebody else. And then one guy will just verify the passport of the other guy. And we will compare the identities on the paper strip. And if everything is okay, you just take the paper strip and you can sign the keys later at home. You don't need to do it here. Then we just rotate right by one and the next verification step happens. And we repeat this until we all have checked everybody else. If you have no paper strips, you need this. Either you have a mobile client maybe on your Android phone or whatever, you can just show the key info page of the GPG implementation. Usually the info page shows your key fingerprint, and then the other one can just make a photo of it so you don't need to exchange any paper. Also, if you have a laptop, you can just enter that command to print your key IDs, your email addresses, your name, and also your fingerprint, then just copy and paste it into a word processor and make it full screen so it's easy to photograph it, and then the other guy will just make a photo of it instead of taking the paper strip. What you need later is a tool called CAFF, C-A-F-F. If you run Debian or Ubuntu, it's in the package called Signing Party. And if you have a lot of keys to sign, that will save you a lot of work. It's a bit of work to set up that tool once because you need a local email server, or at least some sort of relay agent, but it will save you a lot of work if you have done it once. Alternatively, you can also do it manually, but then you have more manual work. And the tool is rather easy. You just say CAF and key ID, then it downloads the other guy's key from the server. It shows the fingerprint, so you can compare with the paper or the photo you have taken. Then you can sign each of his email, and the tool will automatically create multiple emails for all the email addresses you wanted to sign and sends each signature to the corresponding email. Yeah, this is the final slide for everybody who has maybe not have seen it yet. It's from Germany, so see you there. Thank you.
So I'd like to get an overview of how many computers we have in here. Who has at least one computer with him? All right, that's a fair standard. You don't have to show me the computer. Who's got two? And computers, anything that has a CPU in it. Who has three? Okay, now that's the computer, a smartphone, and a tablet. Who's got four? So the fourth one, does that have network connectivity? Who has four with network? James, you are awesome. We need you. You're going to be a workhorse here in a minute. Ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
Hi. My name is Christoph. I'm co-founder of Quantified Code. And what we do is we do data-driven code quality management. So we develop software, data-driven software that helps you monitor and improve your source code. And we are lucky we got a funding from the German government, and so we can, for the next year, spend our time without a lot of business pressure to build a great product. And I'm here today to ask you to help us, to give us feedback, and to check out our first alpha version, because we want to build something that really matters and that really is going to be used by the community. So what we are striving for is basically we want you to check in your repository on our website. Then we will offer you a continuous check and monitoring of your code quality. And finally, we want to not only check the code, of course, but we want to display results, we want to give you suggestions, and in the final state also offer you automatic improvements to the code. How do we do that? Basically, we apply machine learning algorithms to a lot of source code, basically to most of the source code you can find open source on GitHub. Where are we right now? So, as I said, we introduced an alpha version, so we can already check the source code of open source public Python repositories on GitHub, and you will already get commit by commit a report of what has changed. Did you add bugs or did you fix bugs? So let me show you the website. So this is basically our alpha version. So what you see here, if you visit our website, is basically you get a list of all the projects we already crawled on GitHub. So you can, let's go into one of them. There is, by the way, no sign up needed. You don't need to do anything. It's all the projects can be used right away. And now you get an analysis of the mistakes and errors in your code. How did we do this? As I said again, it's an alpha version. It is the first step. So what we did is we used common linters, PyFlakes, PEP8, and so on. We checked if the messages they give you are relevant. We categorize these messages. And here you can filter whether the message or the error is a critical one, a potential bug, etc. Let's zoom into one. So you click here, and then you go directly to the piece of code where this issue occurred. So now what I really love to get from you or anyone who's interested in static code analysis, code management, code quality management, or any programmer is, now this is a simple alpha version. It has functionality, it gives you an overview of your code, but I would like to know what are the features you really need. What What do you need in terms of workflows? Where do we need to integrate into Jenkins or any other systems? What are the common mistakes you get from other linters which you would like to see solved? Yeah, just reach out to us. We want to develop the product with you. All this is here free and will ever stay free for open source. And also, as I said, we got a government funding. We have free slots there. So if you're interested in working with us for the next few months on the cool product, then get in touch with me. Thanks.
All right. Was that a good set of lightning talks today? Was it? Thank you.